we're less than a year away from the return of one of the biggest sci-fi franchises in the world. On March 26, 2027, Godzilla and Kong will team up once again in Godzilla X Kong Supernova, the third crossover film in Warner Bros. MonsterVerse. While details about the movie are still pretty limited, excitement is already building as fans wait to see what this next chapter has in store. One of the biggest changes coming with Supernova is its cast. Unlike previous MonsterVerse films, most of the familiar human characters won't be returning, at least based on what's been announced so far. However, Dan Stevens is set to return as Trapper, the fan-favorite monster veterinarian from the New Empire. Joining him are several newcomers, including Kaitlyn Dever, Jack O'Connell, Delroy Lindo, Matthew Modine, Alicia Debnam Carey, and Sam Neill. Their character details are still being kept under wraps, but more information is expected to be revealed in the coming months. The movie is also bringing in a new creative team. Director Adam Wingard, who helmed the previous two Godzilla X Kong films, stepped away due to scheduling conflicts, making room for Grant Spator, best known for directing the sci-fi thriller I Am Mother. Writer David Callahan, whose credits include Shang-Chi, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and Mortal Kombat, is handling the screenplay. Filming has taken place across several locations, including Australia, Utah, Mexico, London, Mumbai, and Bangkok, making Supernova the most globe-spanning MonsterVerse movie yet. According to Delroy Lindo, the filmmakers have also paid attention to criticisms of the franchise's human characters and are aiming to make them more compelling this time around. Rumored plot details suggest the film will explore the relationship between humans and titans, while also featuring a massive monster storm caused by the clash between Godzilla and Kong. If true, Supernova could deliver both bigger emotional stakes and the over-the-top monster action fans expect. While the recent MonsterVerse films haven't always been critical favorites, they've succeeded as fun, larger-than-life blockbuster spectacles. Fans are hoping Godzilla X Kong Supernova continues that tradition when it stomps into theaters next March. If you're a huge Godzilla fan and have watched all 40-plus films at least once, then the announcement of a new movie is always exciting because it immediately sparks speculation about which monsters could appear. That could mean entirely new creatures, like the villains introduced in Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, or fresh interpretations of classic kaiju from the franchise's long history, similar to what Godzilla King of the Monsters did. Of course, some recent Japanese Godzilla films, such as Shin Godzilla and Godzilla -1, prove that a movie can focus solely on the King of the Monsters himself without introducing additional kaiju. That said, it's probably safe to assume that Godzilla X Kong Supernova won't feature only Godzilla and Kong. After all, even Godzilla vs. Kong introduced a new version of Mechagodzilla, despite centering on the battle between the two iconic titans. And judging by the title Supernova, there's a strong possibility that the film's main threat could have a connection to outer space. If that's the case, there are several classic monsters from Godzilla's history that also originated beyond Earth and could potentially make an appearance. And another monster that could show up is Orga. First introduced in Godzilla 2000 Millennium, Orga was the main villain of the movie that kicked off the Millennium era of Godzilla films. Unlike the original Godzilla or The Return of Godzilla, which mostly focused on humanity dealing with Godzilla, this film gave the King of the Monsters a powerful kaiju rival to battle. Orga's origins are pretty unique too. He was created from the mutated biomass of an alien race that crash-landed on Earth millions of years ago and remained dormant for ages. After coming into contact with Godzilla's DNA, Orga partially copied some of Godzilla's traits, but the process wasn't perfect. The result was a bizarre creature that shares some similarities with Godzilla, but looks far more mutated and grotesque. Even though Orga couldn't overpower Godzilla in a straight fight, he was still an incredibly dangerous threat. What made Orga especially terrifying was his ability to absorb and assimilate Godzilla completely, which could have allowed him to evolve into something even more powerful. In the end, Godzilla was only able to defeat him by attacking from the inside, since Orga's rapid healing abilities made conventional attacks nearly useless. Another monster that could potentially appear is Gigan. First introduced in Godzilla vs. Gigan, Gigan quickly became one of the strangest and most memorable villains in the entire Godzilla franchise. His origins are extraterrestrial, as he was sent to Earth by an alien race alongside King Ghidorah in an attempt to conquer the planet. That kind of over-the-top sci-fi storyline was pretty common during Godzilla's Showa era, and Gigan fit right into it. Even without knowing his backstory, it's obvious that Gigan isn't from Earth just by looking at him. While monsters like Mothra can easily be described as a giant moth and Rodan resembles a massive pterosaur, Gigan is much harder to categorize. He has a bird-like beak, reptilian scales, giant hook-shaped claws, and perhaps most famously, a massive circular saw built directly into his chest that he uses as a weapon. Gigan became even more outrageous in Godzilla Final Wars, where his clawed arms were upgraded into chainsaws, making him look even more like a walking sci-fi nightmare. Despite never actually managing to defeat Godzilla, even when teaming up with King Ghidorah, Gigan has remained one of the franchise's most popular villains because of his unique design and chaotic energy. Another strong possibility is Space Godzilla. First appearing in Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla has become one of the top fan theories surrounding Godzilla X Kong Supernova. Given the movie's title and all the speculation online, he arguably feels like the leading candidate to show up. It would also mark his first appearance in a live-action Godzilla film in more than 30 years. Considering how the MonsterVerse has gradually embraced bigger, stranger, and more over-the-top concepts, introducing a villain literally called Space Godzilla doesn't seem all that far-fetched anymore. As his name suggests, Space Godzilla is essentially a cosmic counterpart to Godzilla. He's larger, bulkier, and more powerful than the original, having evolved in space after Godzilla's cells somehow traveled through black holes, white holes, or some other bizarre cosmic phenomenon. If handled well, a modern MonsterVerse version of Space Godzilla could end up becoming even more iconic than his original appearance. Lastly, there's Monster X, who eventually transforms into Kaiser Ghidorah. First appearing in Godzilla Final Wars, Monster X serves as the film's ultimate antagonist before revealing his true form as Kaiser Ghidorah. While King Ghidorah has already made his MonsterVerse debut, Kaiser Ghidorah is distinct enough to feel like an entirely different character. In a way, introducing him would give audiences two monsters in one, the mysterious and powerful Monster X, followed by the even more terrifying Kaiser Ghidorah transformation. Out of all the possibilities, Kaiser Ghidorah might actually be the least predictable choice. Much of the current fan speculation has focused on monsters like Gigan, Space Godzilla, and Ghidorah. However, considering how increasingly wild and over-the-top the MonsterVerse has become, introducing another version of Ghidorah wouldn't feel completely out of place. In fact, Godzilla Final Wars remains arguably the most chaotic, bombastic, and divisive film in the entire franchise. Some fans love its sheer insanity, while others find it overwhelming. But given that the recent MonsterVerse films have also embraced larger-than-life action and increasingly outrageous concepts, there's a strong argument that leaning even further into that style could work. After all, few Godzilla movies have ever been as weird, ambitious, and unapologetically over-the-top as Godzilla Final Wars. Well, that's it for today. Let me know which monster you'd most like to see in Godzilla X Kong Supernova in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, because we'll be covering plenty more MonsterVerse updates in the future. We'll see you next time.